Hi, welcome to Sarah Lilly Makes. My name is Sarah, and this is my journaling space here on YouTube where I like to talk about, document, and share all the things I have been working on. Today's episode is going to be a mid-month update for the month of May to see the progress I've been making on my spring knitting plans and any new projects that I have recently started on. I apologize about my voice, I'm a little bit hoarse. I went to a concert a few days ago with two of my kids and was a little bit loud, so I kind of lost my voice there a bit. But yeah, let's get into the projects today. I have no finished objects, which is I'm actually happy about because that means I'll have a few finished objects but by the next episode. So I have five active whips that I'm currently working on, and we will get to it now. Let's get started. I'll start with the one that I have the most progress on, and that is the Mina Sweater, which is a pattern from Sandnes Garn. And I've been slowly making progress on this in the past couple of episodes, and I have one sleeve done here. So I have the sleeve done from where I picked up the neck and the collar last time I talked about this. I have the neckband kind of pinned with some light bulb stitch markers here, and I finished one sleeve, and then I am mostly done with the second sleeve. So I actually put this down when I ran out of a ball of yarn, and I was like, I don't really want to keep working on this until I make some progress on some of my other projects. So that's what I ended up kind of doing. So I went ahead and recently rejoined a ball of yarn, I think maybe a couple of nights ago, and then I just kind of just dropped it again. But this should hopefully be done soon. I just joined a ball of yarn literally like 2 rows ago. Yeah, I feel like I have only 2 or 3 more decreases left on this sleeve, and then the rest of the ribbing. And I really love this color. I feel like it's shown up really well on camera right now, and I guess the time of day and the lighting and everything, but this is very true to the actual color, and it looks really pretty. I love this color. I feel like this is mint and like teals and like bluish greens are some of my favorite colors, and I don't have anything in this color, so this is really exciting. It's just taking me a while to finish it because it's a bit thick. It's on 5.5mm needles. So a chunky gauge with double Sunday and a lace weight yarn held together. So I'm knitting this with double Sunday and Alpaca from Sandnes Garn in the colorway Mint. Can't remember the colorway number, but the name is Mint. It's one of their recent colors, and I am using the recommended needle size for this, which is 5.5. The ribbing is 4.5, and the double knit button band for the placket here was 3.5mm needles. So overall, this has been really fun, but just slow going. Even though it is a very chunky weight, it should be a very quick project. It's just taking me a while because I've kind of just run out of steam on it, and I still want to finish this. I still love it. I still love this color, and yeah, I have got some buttons here. These have been in my button collection for a while, so they're very similar to the buttons on the original Sandnes Garn sample, and they're this like very glittery. It's got a lot of like fake gems, different iridescent gems on there, and it is very similar to the button on the website, on their sample. So I was really excited about this. I was like, oh, I just happen to have 4. I kind of went with 4 buttonholes because I kind of was leaning towards these buttons and I only had 4 of them. So it kind of worked out that way, and I'm really happy about it. So I haven't sewn them in yet. I'm waiting to finish the complete project before adding the buttons because I want to wash and block this before adding the buttons, because they're not like very jagged, but I feel like it can easily pick up the sweater fuzz. Like it has a tiny bit of fuzz where it just like picks up the fuzz. So I'm kind of worried about that. But other than that, I think, yeah. So I have talked a lot about this project before, so I don't think I really want to share too much else about this. Let's see. Oh, I did want to mention actually. So Sandnes Garn, when they instruct for pickup, so pick up the sleeves or like the neck, the collar, they tell you to pick up 1 stitch in every stitch and then reduce it around on the second knit round. And that is what I have started doing now for most, if not all, of my knit projects. And I don't think it looks bad. I think it, like, you can't really tell that, maybe you can, there's a little bit of pucker where you do start decrease, where I have decreased a couple of stitches along this pickup edge. I don't know, I don't think it looks too bad, but I did want to make a note of that, that's how they kind of instruct a lot of their patterns for picking up. But I don't mind it. I feel like, I don't know, maybe when it hangs it might look a little bit odd, but as of right now I feel okay with how it looks. And I think that was just my only takeaway from doing this, the way that I've been doing it per their instruction. Yeah, I think that's it. I feel like I've gone on and on about this pattern, so I will end it here on this, and this should hopefully be done by the end of the month. And I'll have this ready, even though it's kind of starting to slowly warm up here. We actually had a really, the past few days, including today, has been super windy, and it brought like a kind of a bit of a cold front. So it's been interesting. The whole house was shaking last night and I barely slept. So that kind of, yeah. Anyway, moving on to my second work in progress. And I'm really excited about this project. I started this August or September of last year. And this is another Sandnes Garn pattern. This is the Blome Sweater from their Norwegian Icons collection that they released last year. I believe this is the patterns from this collection are a bunch of their archived patterns that they just re-brought back and modernized it, I suppose, and they just modernized and brought them back. So I have been working on this for a while, but I got through a lot of the slog part of it, and now I'm really enjoying working on this. This is the Blome Sweater. This is a fingering weight all over colorwork project. I am using 3 and 2.5 millimeter needles for this, and I'm using tin pair Gynt. I will have all the notes below if you're interested in specific details about this project or any of my other projects. I will have it below and also linked in my Ravelry. So I have since joined the body and added the second flower motif, and oh my gosh, it looks so good on camera. I love it so much. Wow, I'm so happy with how this is turning out. I started last night. I started the last part of the colorwork motif, where it's this but in the reverse. So it's going by so much faster now that I've like started working in the round. I'm not knitting flat, I'm not doing colorwork flat, and I've only gotten to the very end. I have like one more. I'm in the middle actually of a row, or a round rather, of the last motif of this diamond going on here. So let me see if I can show a little bit of it there. Yeah, so it's so neat. I'm so obsessed with how this is turning out, and I really want to just finish it. So I just started this part last night where you start working this colorwork, and it's moving so much faster, obviously, because I'm not knitting it flat anymore, but it's just going by so much faster. and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I have steam blocked it so it looks a bit neater, and I am knitting continental and English with my colorwork. So I'm holding the dominant colorway in my dominant hand because I knit English style. So I'm holding the gray color in my right hand, and then the contrast color, the white, that's creating the diamonds here, in my left hand, and I'm knitting that continental. I seem to be getting a bit faster at it as I'm doing it, and my tension has kind of just progressively gotten better. I feel like for some of the flowers, there are a couple parts where it does look a little, I don't think it looks puckery because the yarn is very forgiving, but like I could kind of tell close up that there's a little bit of just very minor tension issues, and it's not bothering me by any means. I'm just going with it. I am just really loving how this is turning out. And yeah, I am happy. I'm really happy with this. I'm excited about this project. I really hope to finish it. I will not be finishing this by the end of May. I don't think I can because, like I said, it's an all-over fingering weight sweater, colorwork fingering weight sweater. So this is just going to be a slow-going process for me, but I am enjoying it now that I've joined, and yeah, this is exciting. I'm really happy about this. I will definitely have this by the fall, and that will be fun for me to have. I don't remember the colorway names. There are 5 colors. Oh yeah, I did do the neckband, I forgot. So the neckband is done on 2mm needles, 3. It's done on one needle size less than the body, so it's either 2.5. It's US 1, I'm pretty sure. I just can't remember I have it here. No, I don't have it here. Well, anyway, it is US 1. Yeah. So the collar is done, the neckband is done. And Sandnes Garn, for this pattern also, Sandnes Garn instructs you to pick up 1 stitch in every single stitch and then do a decrease to get down to your desired number of stitches for the ribbing. And it's black yarn. And there are a few moments where I realized, and I didn't really care that much at the end of the day, that I was doing, there were some mistakes in the ribbing because it's black yarn, and I was like not paying that close attention to it. So yeah, there are a few mistakes. I can't even see it now because it's dark colored yarn. I think this might be one here where the pearls are on the knits are just kind of off, but it's fine. I don't care. One more thing I think I wanted to mention about this pattern is that there are 2 corrections that are listed on their website for this lattice colorwork and then this lattice colorwork. So my stitch count is correct. And so when I was doing it the first time, when I had started, so I actually started this, I had tinted back. I started this a few days ago, and then I ended up undoing the stitches because I realized my stitch count, something was off. It wasn't like I wasn't ending the chart how it was written in I wasn't ending the pattern how it was written in the chart, which is fine. So I ended up just tinking it back and then counting my stitches, and I realized I was missing a stitch, and then I went back and I realized I had accidentally dropped a stitch somewhere. So I picked it up, and then I went back and I counted. I had the correct number of stitches, but my chart still was not adding up to what it was supposed to be. It wasn't ending on the last stitch, it was ending on the second to last stitch. It seemed like there was a stitch missing in the chart. So I just continued knitting after that. I was like, it's on the side. It's not going to line up properly regardless because it's kind of where the join is. And so it's not completely like, it's not done evenly here at the very end where the join is, where you're, starting a new round. So it's fine. It doesn't really bother me too much, and I am okay with that. So I just kept knitting without finishing with that missing stitch. Yeah. So that's my second whip. I know I won't finish that anytime soon, but that's okay. It's just a process, and I'm enjoying the process of that. The next whip that I have is something that I had just started in my last episode, and it's something that I just wanted to make for myself. Just making a knit, just making a design of something I really wanted to do for myself. And I have since knitted most of the back panel of this. I am going to make this into a blouse. This is using a chart from the Japanese lace, this book, 280 stitches of Japanese lace, 280 Japanese lace stitches. And it is chart number 270. So this is the chart that I am using, and I've just kind of created what I did. I took a picture of that chart, and then I printed it out, which was a lot of ink because it's like gray and black and white anyway. And then I started transferring the stitches onto Stitch Fiddle and then working it up from the bottom. So I had the designated number of stitches I wanted to have at the beginning, and then I started working it outwards. And so I think it's written on my notes somewhere, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it was like 30 stitches I started with. It's whatever to make, to get an even count from here to here. And then I started doing an increase on every right and wrong side to create the European shoulder construction here. And then once I reached the designated number of stitches that I wanted to have for the back panel, then I started just knitting down, working in the chart. So it's a combination of a 4-stitch cable every sixth row, and then a yarn over on a left and a right decrease in the middle of 2 yarn overs. And then it's kind of just alternating. And I really like how it looks. It's very springy to me, and I really like this color as well. This is Elderflower from Knitting for Olive in their soft silk mohair and their merino. So I'm using 4mm needles for this project, and I just have a couple more centimeters to go on this back piece, and then I will start doing some shoulder pickups and excuse me. I said I want to make a blouse. I'm not sure if I want to do long sleeve or short sleeve yet, but I feel like a long sleeve blouse with this lace and fiber combination will be really nice for summer. I'm not, or for spring and late summer. Summer evenings rather. So I don't know that I will actually get this done anytime soon. It's just kind of been a thing that I pick up when I feel motivated to work on it. And as of right now, I am enjoying this. This is it has been meditative because it's not complicated. It's not a complicated stitch pattern. It's just yarn overs and slip knits, knit 2 togethers, yarn overs, and then a cable every 6th row. So it's been very meditative. It's been fun to work on, and it's just been something to just keep my hands busy. So that is my own pattern that I'm working on. And then the next thing that I have is another pattern that I am working on. I'm going to change my battery because I see it's low and I don't want it to start blinking on me. And as per usual, I realized I forgot to talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Amelie Tee, which is a pattern from Petite Knit. I knitted this 2 years ago, or whenever the pattern came out, whenever she released the pattern. I really love this. This is such a good basic, and I would love to remake this again in maybe a solid color. But I love the colors I used. I used whipped cream and flamingo pink, I'm pretty sure. Or plastic pink, one of the pinks from Sandnes Garn Sunday collection. So I love this. I love this. I will make more of these if given the chance. So Moving on to my the fourth whip, and I have a swatch here. So I talked about in my last episode wanting to make myself a lace polo t-shirt. I ended up making a swatch with some double Sunday that I had in whipped cream, which is the color I wanted to do one of my summer plans, my spring plans in. So I'll get to that in a second. But so this is double Sunday. This is my swatch that I made. I did 3 different lace motifs to try to figure out which one I wanted to end up going with. And this one clearly is not a winner. That is not at all anything that I would want to make. And I ended up going with the second one, which is a lace row every 4th row. So I had a lovely commenter in my last episode give me advice to do the Aria sweater, which was one of my spring plans. The Aria sweater is a pattern from Sandnes Garn. It is a long sleeve polo sweater with I'm pretty sure it's a double knit polo collar. And then it is knitted with 2 strands of lace weight yarn on 3.5mm needles. I was going to do that pattern in a nautical striped version with double Sunday in whipped cream and a dark navy with the recommended needle size. So I was planning on doing that project for my spring plans, and I decided to use that pattern instead of creating my own thing from scratch because it's easier. I already had the pattern. I figured it would be, less work for me. And then a commenter suggested that I use that pattern, and I was like, yeah, that's actually what I'm going to end up doing. So I did cast on. And so it's not a drop shoulder. The design that I have in mind was a shirt I saw in a window at the mall. And I'm pretty sure it was a drop shoulder construction. It looked drop shoulder to me. So I'll insert a picture here so you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I decided to use the Aria sweater pattern from Sandnes Garn and then modify it to have eyelets to suit what I want for this design. And so I did. I cast on the back. So I did the swatch. I figured out that I wanted this, and I will use the size medium, in the Sandnes Garn Aria sweater pattern, size medium, which is my normal go-to size. So I cast on for that size with the stitches, the stitch count given in the pattern. This is what I have so far. So I actually there's a lot of ends in this because there's just a lot going on. I'll just hold it from the back so you could see a little bit better. Actually, I'll turn it around in a second. So it is a European shoulder construction with a set-in sleeve. That's what the Aria pattern description is anyway too. I don't think it says set-in sleeve, but it does describe it as a European shoulder construction. And the original design that I saw at the mall is I'm fairly certain it was a drop shoulder, just a straight drop shoulder, and then you work from there. Not a big deal. Totally fine. I can make this to my own. It's my own thing that I'm making anyway, so it doesn't even matter. I'm just using that as an inspiration. So I use the stitch count and I'm working along. And then I am making my back panel. I finished the back panel, then I have to pick up the right shoulder, and then I work it along following. I'm making it according to a yarn over every 3rd stitch or something. I'm doing a yarn over, slip slip knit, knit to 1, yarn over, slip slip knit. Let me rewind a bit because I'm losing myself. I have to pick it up to figure out where I have to start knitting to figure out what I'm doing. It's knit 1, yarn over, slip slip knit. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm doing the eyelet row every 4th row. So this is kind of what I have so far. I actually had at least an inch more, and then I realized one of my rows on this side was, it seemed that it was 2 rows more. And the reason that happened, I'll explain. So once I do the back panel, I cut the yarn, I put it on hold, and then I pick up the right shoulder. I work down, I start doing increases for the neck, and at the same time I'm doing the eyelets for the lace. And then I'm supposed to cast on 5 stitches for this side. So I'm trying to make all of the parts, the front, the back, and then I cast on this side. I pick up, I work down, and then I cast on 5 stitches. And I'm trying to make sure that everything is lining up where they're all ending on the same row, where it's like the second row 1 is a yarn over, then row 2 would be the wrong side row, the purl side row. Anyway, I try to make sure that that's what I do. I end all 3 parts on that second row so that it's even. So I did that, but somehow anyway, I keep knitting. And then I'm going forward, and now I'm supposed to join because it's a sleeve cap. I'm making a sleeve cap now according to the Aria sweater construction pattern instructions. So I join all the way around, and then I put my stitch markers here. I pick up the stitches along the edge, and then I knit the back. I pick up the stitches along the edge, then I knit the front, and then I keep going, and now I'm doing increases for my for the sleeves. I'm doing increases for the sleeves right now. That's the part where I was at. So I had gotten to about 10 rows, so I've done 5 sets of increases, and then I take a picture and I look at it and I'm like, okay, this does not look like it's symmetrical. I'll insert a picture of what I took because I thought it was I thought it was silly and I thought it was funny, and honestly, I could have just kept knitting, but I would have noticed in the long run and it would have bugged me to no end. And it's taken me a really long time to get to this place in my knitting where I don't let mistakes bother me. It's taken a really long time and medication to get to the point where I don't allow mistakes to get to me. But I realized that this is one of those cases where I needed to undo my stitches and fix it. So I go back, I ended up frogging it, and then I re-pick up the stitches. I pick up the stitches for the front, I pick up the stitches for the back, I pick up the stitches for this front. So there are 3 separate needles again. And then I go to join again. I'm going to join again, and I realize I am still off. Like, I can't figure out why this side isn't lining up with this side, why they're not symmetrical. And I realized you're supposed to cast on stitches here and then purl back to finish, to like complete that part of the knitting. And then you pick up for the left side, and then you do the same thing, and then you cast on 5 stitches to create, you know, like the placket at the front, and or at least part of it. And in doing that, it somehow makes these 2 parts not symmetrical. So I'll have like 2 extra rows on this side here, and this would be just one single row. It wasn't lining up, it wasn't adding up, it wasn't making sense to me. So I ended up redoing it again, and then what I ended up doing was just finishing what I was supposed to finish here, and then I end here for the right side. I end on the right side when I'm supposed to finish the knitting. I end at the right side. I end on the wrong side, rather. I end here, and I'm not going back, and I'm not adding my 5 stitches. I just cut the yarn. That's why there's a super long tail here, because I was going back again. And I just added 5 stitches on to this end. So now they're both symmetrical, they're both even, they're both on the same row. And I'm not off by like 2 rows. One side isn't longer by 2 rows, or one lace part is like not 2 rows longer, if that makes any sense. I'm having trouble saying it, but it wasn't working out where the rows were even, like both sides were even, and then I was having the same number of stitches for the front plackets where like the V is formed. All of that to say, I just ended up having to just redo this part, take out all of this yarn from this front, and just cast on 5 stitches for the front part of this here. So I am trying to make a project vlog on this. I don't know that it'll end up getting posted. If it does, then yay. If it doesn't, then sorry. But I am actually, this has been sitting in my project bag for like 2 weeks, because I started this a few weeks ago, and then I was working on it, then I made all that progress, and then I was like, I can't keep working on it because it bugged me so much, so I just put it down for a bit. I did actually rejoin the whole thing. I went and I started picking up for the stitches for the sleeve cap here and on this side, since frogging that amount of work. But so far I am really, like, I love how this is turning out. I feel like it will be such a fun thing to have. I'm really excited to have this. I feel like this will be such a unique something for myself, and not 100% unique, because I am using a pattern and then I'm using an inspiration, you know, garment already, but still. Yeah, I really am liking how this is turning out. So yeah, it's just been kind of a headache, but so far it's okay. Yeah. I have a lot of increases to do for the sleeve cap. Then I will, once I do that, then I'll do some raglan increases, and then join, I suppose. Another thing I should note is that because I'm using the stitch count in the pattern, it's not exactly like perfectly, the lace isn't perfectly symmetrical on both sides, like up the shoulder. So on this shoulder here, I have like, it's not completely the same as this shoulder here. It might be hard to see, but it's not, the lace is just not identical along this seam here. I don't care. I feel like that's just gonna kind of just, that now is getting a little nitpicky, and I'm not gonna let that bother me too much. So yeah, I will start doing lace on the sleeve cap once I get, actually I think I am on a row to do a lace row now, because it's every 4th. 1, 2, 3, yeah. This next row is going to be a lace row, and then I will start the lace right away on the sleeve cap, even though it is right up against the seam. I feel like that's okay. I don't think it'll be that, like, this is the seam right here. I think, actually, I don't know. I'll think about what I want to do, but I do have to do another lace right here. And that's it for this project. I think, I don't know. I'm not gonna rush on this. This is gonna be a summer, this is supposed to be a summer knit, something that I wanted to make and part of a summer plan, which I haven't even made a summer plans video yet, so we'll see how that goes. And I'm using double Sunday in whipped cream. This is all the yarn I had ended up frogging and just rolling back up onto the ball of yarn. I think that's really all I have to say about this. I feel like I talked as much about this project as I've already talked about in the vlog video that I'm making on this, so I might not need to do a vlog video after all. We'll see. I have one more whip that I just casted on, and The only reason I casted this on, it's not a plan, it's not anything like specific, but I am making something for my daughter, my youngest, because she went through her sweater collection that she has of all the things I made for her last night, and she does not have very many that fits her. She was trying to put on all the outgrown sweaters that she has in her little cupboard, and I was like, okay, you know what, I'll just listen, I'll just make you something, I'll just start it for you right now, and then you'll be happy. So she picked the yarn, I picked the pattern. I picked the ridge sweater pattern from Sandnes Garn. I've done the adult version of this, and I wanted to make my son, my younger son, it was one of my fall plans, or sorry, my winter plans, to make him a sweater, but now I'm doing it for my daughter, so I still have to do it for him. But I am using pure Gynt, the petite knit purple pure Gynt, and brushed alpaca in this pink color. So she wants purple and pink, those are her two favorite colors, and yeah, it'll be fun. Like I said, I just cast on last night and I don't have much. This is worked flat for quite a bit. Actually no, I think I join after maybe 4 or 6 more rows. But how it's constructed is you are doing raglan increases and you're casting on stitches at the end to shape the front. And I made the adult version, I said, so I'm pretty familiar with the pattern. I'm using pure Gynt, which is not the recommended yarn for the kids version. It's double Sunday and brushed up and the Borstet alpaca. But I didn't have any purple double Sunday, so I'm using what I have and making it do. I'm making the size 8 for her, and I'm going to make it a little extra long. I'm going to use quite a bit of the yarn that I have, so it will grow with her and not she grows before I finish it, which has happened. So those are my whips. Those are the projects that I am currently actively working on, except the Aria, which is going to take a little break, and I'll just make progress as I make progress on it. So yeah, that's it for my update for the mid-month May, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found some inspiration. Let me know what you're working on. I always love to know what others are working on while they're watching my videos, because I'm knitting as I'm watching other people's videos. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.